Squirrels were hitting first base. Marty, Lurie with friends. Home run, you know the ways and the trends, the stories all with the mitch of the block. It's Marty and friends. Marty and friends.
All right, great to have you with us on this Sunday afternoon as we get ready to talk a little Giants baseball in general. The first half, as they say, is over, and the Giants take a tough loss today in 11 innings, 5-2. So great to have you with us. Eric is with us, you see him down below. Larry Krueger is on his way, and the great Glen Kuiper is here too. So 5-2 in 11 innings, and I said this to Eric, Glenn, before you came on. It reminded me of the 60s, Marichal and Koufax, Drysdale and Perry, in those great Sunday games, and 2-0 to the ninth inning. And Montos, a pinch hit home run to tie it up 2-2. And then, as Red Barber says, all hell broke loose after that. So nice to see you, Glenn.
It's good seeing you, Mark. You know what? It was a great series. I mean, entertainment value very high. Ballpark was a great atmosphere. And really 3 great games. Listen, you saw a little bit of everything. I usually don't get like this, but I'm kind of annoyed at the loss. I really am. And not for any specific purpose. Larry, you'll like this. I'm just annoyed, Larry. I'm annoyed.
What was the door to the Gotham Club locked? What is annoying you?
The game. And like I said, I usually don't get like this, but Devers hits a 108-mile-an-hour line drive to center field that would have won the game. You do everything right, and then the Dodgers come up and hit a flare, a 6-hopper to the first baseman, and another flare, and they win the game. So I'm just annoyed in general at baseball right now because, as we all know, it's not always fair. But that one kind of sucked, I thought, because it's just one of those games, man. What can you do? But you had a shot. And it just didn't come out.
Go ahead, Larry.
I mean, first of all, I don't want to play the opposite role and be Johnny Glowing here, but I will say this: I fell back in love with baseball a lot this weekend. I mean, I really did. I thought this was a remarkably entertaining series. I was there Friday night, and just watching what Shohei Ohtani is, watching, the bar, how high the Dodgers have raised this bar with the way they have spent internationally, especially going after Yamamoto. I mean, and then seeing how much enthusiasm there is for the rivalry and for Giants baseball and how rich the Giants are. I mean, in some ways, this has never been a more exciting time. Now, yes, the Dodgers have been on top, and yes, the Giants have to figure out a way to run with them. But I think we're all pretty happy feeling that, Farhan jump-started the minors. We'll see what happens tonight. Buster is a good steward of Giants baseball. I think we're all happy with the direction it's gone. I know there are people that are going to take issue with a lot of the moves, the Devers move, all the moves really. But, I think this is a great time. I mean, to be a Giants-Dodgers fan, to be a Giants fan. I mean, watching Ohtani do his thing as a pitcher, and then Saturday as a pitcher, Friday night as a hitter, looking at this Dodger lineup, it's just ridiculous with Betts and Freeman and Will Smith and all these guys, Pages and all these guys. I mean, they have so many good players. But I mean, I'm telling you, yesterday or this morning, I taped it last night. I taped it yesterday. There's a pitcher in the Mariners organization that I saw this weekend who's in the futures game who throws 95 from the right-hand side, and that's not his natural side. He's a natural lefty. Yes, and he throws. I mean, what? I mean, this guy is going to be one of the most, if this guy can do what he's doing at the futures level, which is, right on the cusp of the big leagues, at the big league level, he's going to be one of the most valuable relievers, maybe the most valuable reliever in the history of relief pitching. So just the advancements. And then I looked up some of Ruth's stats. It's like Ruth was just an incredible pitcher. I mean, it's funny, we talk about Ruth, but we don't talk about Ruth the pitcher. But yeah, Ohtani is the modern day Ruth. And I never thought, when I watched Barry, I thought I'd never see anybody that I thought was more compelling. But I mean, how could you get more compelling than what Ohtani is right now?
Eric, go ahead.
Yeah. And, and to talk about the series, the Giants were in it in every single game. And that, that's something, everyone's, it's the dreaded Dodgers. They're going to come here and they're going to kill us. Right. The Giants, they held their own. Today, it was a little bit disappointing because I thought they could be able to get it. And I see a lot of people in the chat talking about the inability of Bailey to lay down the bunt. And I agree, man. He should have been able to get that bunt down. He's a great bunter. Why he was unable to get it down is a whole different reason. But the Giants were in it. And, there's something to take away from that. It's not like the Giants were just getting embarrassed. They weren't. What was it? The first game, 8-7, second game, 2-1. Today, 5-2. So the Giants were in it all the way into the end. Got to the extra innings. You got the Manfred runner on second. So, the way I'm looking at it, hey, we're going into the break. You took the series from Philadelphia. You played the Dodgers hard. And I think, look, we're in a good spot. You still got 2.5 months of worth of baseball going. Let's go.
Yeah, well, the game itself showed me a lot today. And one of the issues of the first half, the top of the order, the first four guys in the order went 1 for 19. 1 for 19. And yet Devers did crush the ball in the 11th inning. He did, or 10th inning, whenever it was, and it was caught. We got
Eric, we got a couple of them. I was just going to let you finish your thought, and I'll get to them.
All right. But 1 for 19 at the top of the order. I mean, for me, that's the big part of what happened today. The other thing is, the Giants can play with the Dodgers. The Giants pitching, I mean, Robbie Ray pitched a great game today. Rojas has got a couple of home runs off him in his career. He hit another one today. Then he gave up another run. So he gives up 2. Looks like he's going to get beat 2-0. And then they bring a guy off the bench who should be playing. This guy should be playing. And someone told me that, and I can't remember what his name was. But
it was on a show very similar to this one.
Matos has got to be playing. This is a team that's crying for power. They've only got like 88 home runs, whatever it is. They're ahead of a couple of teams in the National League. You've got to get this guy's bat into the lineup. I love Yastrzemski. You got to get his bat in the lineup. Then the other thing is, should they have pitched Bivens? Rogers was there. Maybe you could bring him in. But, of course, in these situations in extra innings, they don't like to use Rogers because he doesn't get strikeouts. And Bivens gave up a couple of, blue pits, and Flores kicked the ball around, a play that's got to be made at first base that led to the bigger inning. But the big thing for me is the Dodgers are not running away. They have 0 bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Vesca is it. That's it. That's the bullpen. And they've got to go out and get a couple of players. Until they do that, they're going to blow games. And look, Mookie Betts is hitting under 250. Freddie Freeman was hitting 360. He's hitting about 275, 280 now. Ohtani is fabulous. Will Smith is going to, hit whatever he's going to hit. The Dodgers are not going to crush everybody. They're not going to do it. Their pitching is still very questionable. And Yamamoto today was terrific. So the big picture for me is the Giants got beat today. They got beat because they didn't hit when they should. They didn't get a hit with a runner in scoring position. And they kicked the ball around when they should have made a play. And they had to get a bunt down to win the game in the 10th inning. And they couldn't get that bunt down. And when that happens, you lose games. But they're in it. They're in it. Brewers won today. I didn't hear the San Diego score.
San Diego lost.
San Diego lost. Okay, so the Giants are half a game behind San Diego still. And you got the Phillies. St. Louis, they got beat today, didn't they, Glenn? I think St. Louis lost today. And Cincinnati won. So the Giants are very, very much in this thing. And this weekend showed it to me. but it also showed me they got to hit better. And look, I love the fact that Devers is here and he crushed the ball, but come on, he's got a rough way to go here with this back. He's got a rough way to go. Thoughts on trying to bump with a torpedo bat? I don't know enough about that, Glenn. Do you bump with a torpedo bat? Does it matter?
It has nothing to do with the bat. The torpedo bat thing that has nothing to do with it. I said it at the beginning of the series. The Giants, to beat the Dodgers, you can't make mistakes, right? I think we would all agree on that. And if you think about in this series, I thought a huge difference in the series was the defense. I didn't think the Giants' defense was very good on Friday night. Jung Lee, a couple mistakes, but they hung on to it. Yesterday's game, the Adames error was huge. Remember, he made the bad flip. If that flip, he made a really nice play.
He tried.
He takes his time and makes a flip. That's an out. One out, runner on first. Instead, it's first and third, nobody out. I mean, that to me, he made a nice play, but he also rushed what should have been a fairly simple flip to the second baseman. It turns out a 2-1 game. They scored a run in that inning. And today, the Wilmer thing, Wilmer's, it's a struggle at first base, and that cost him 2 runs. The bottom of the 11th is a whole different deal, I think, if it's 3-2 as opposed to 5-2.
Right.
So and Bailey not getting the butt. I just felt like there was some small things and some defensive things that I think it cost the Giants in this series, and you can't make those kind of mistakes against the Dodgers.
They're lucky today. Come on, Matos comes off the bench, and they don't have a right-handed reliever. As Tanner Scott pitches, and Matos knocks it out to tie it up. This game was history. Yeah. We're ready to have dinner. This game,
I'll tell you the play that we haven't discussed.
You got to take advantage of that magic. When you grab magic and you got it in an inning, you have to finish it off.
All right.
And that to me was the frustrating part. What Matos did was unbelievable. I mean, the kid's in a tough spot anyways. He's really struggled against left-handers this year. His swings have not been good against left-handers, much better against right-handers. In fact, I looked up, he's 6 for 48 against left-handers. But
did you see his first swing? His first swing, he just swung from his ass. I mean, he came up there to hit a home run, and he did.
Yeah,
and he did.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a ton of talent. The one thing part of this game we haven't brought up, and I don't know, maybe you guys don't see it the same way I did, but I thought the 90 feet that hurt was when Schmidt didn't tag on the fly out for the first out of the 10th when he was on second base.
Did he have tagged up on that?
I mean, I know Outman caught it. It wasn't deep, but it wasn't shallow either. And to me, it was in that kind of 50-50 zone. That was the 90 feet they needed, because then he scores on the Devers, dead shot to center. He didn't even get the tag on the dead shot to center, by the way, either.
Yeah.
But
I think it would have been a really close play, Larry. I think
it would have been.
Point is a good one. I think he's probably thinking, listen, I can't make the second out at third base. I have to give another guy a shot to knock me in. But yeah, I mean, you could have pushed it there a little bit, but I think it would have been a close play at third. But yeah, it's frustrating. Games like
that
this
was frustrating. That was frustrating. The other thing that frustrated me was that, Bivens, K's Will Smith throwing 97. And I don't know, to me, it just seems like he underthrows his fastball. I mean, Freeman is a 297 hitter in an era where 297 may as well be 330. I mean, it's hard to hit in this era. When you see guys hitting almost 300, that's something. And he bloops that single to score Outman to give him the lead. And, and then, of course, the led to the Teoscar ground ball and the bloop single to right, and everything, the wheels came off. But to me, it seemed like he K's Smith with 97, and I don't know that he threw a fastball again.
Yeah, I think Freeman hit a little slider because he hit it off the end of the bat.
Mm-hmm. He was jammed. I thought he got jammed on it and just got the bat.
I think it was a breaking ball that he hit off the end. But either way, I mean, And again, that's the thing. It's like, they didn't hit a ball, over 70 miles an hour, and they had 3 straight hits. And hey,
you think Flores just panicked trying to get that out at first? He could have.
He's just not. He's not a great defensive player.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen. The reality is, guys, they don't want to play him there, but they don't have the only way to get his bat in the lineup is to play him at first. I think they need to get Devers out there when he's ready. That'll help the situation. But listen, they don't want to play him there. They get that he's not very good at first. Mm-hmm. We've seen it. We saw it on Wednesday when the Phillies blew out the Giants. But earlier in that game, there was a couple throws from Chapman that were low, but they were just barely in the dirt or not in the dirt at all, and he missed them. Mm-hmm. It's the first base thing. It's a big deal. So your best case scenario is to get Devers out there, and then you can DH Wilmer. You don't have to worry about it, but we don't know when that's going to happen. So
you get Devers can kill it at first. I mean, you do not want to see him at first.
We don't want Wilmer at first either. He's going to be better than Wilmer.
No, then get Dom Smith in there late in the game. Then you got to get.
I think they would have done that, but Flores' bat was
due up
11th inning. He ended up hitting. He ended up making the final out, but at that point, he's in there. It's a 1-run game. You still got a chance to tie it in the bottom of the 11th, and one of your best clutch hitters is up third. So that's probably why they left Wilmer in the game. But man, frustrating.
Here's the thing with the Giants, and we can't just talk about the issue the entire time. So we always wind up talking about these secondary issues. Now we're talking about Flores' defense. We're talking about Bivens', pitch selection and things like that, and random relievers and their ability to keep guys on base and that kind of thing. But here's the reality: the Giants had 8 total hits over the last 2 games at home in beautiful weather in their home yard against their arch rivals. So, 8 hits, that ain't getting it done. And I looked this one up because, I knew it, but I knew it was a gaudy stat. And sure enough, it is. The Giants offense in the first half, they've gone 97 games. Okay. They've scored 0 runs, 1 run, or 2 runs in 27 of the first 97. That's almost 30% of the games, and they're 3-24 in those games. Mm-hmm. So that is the issue. They're not scoring enough runs, and it's making us talk about the defense and the pitching and all these other things. But in reality, it's just they're not scoring enough runs. So they got to figure out a way, either a lineup combination that works. Now, Marty and I talked about this yesterday, and I fully concur to the point where I would argue aggressively for it. You got to have Jung-Hoo up top. Okay, you can't have Yaz, who I know he's been decent in this first half, but you can't have Yaz, who strikes out a lot, up top. Yaz has got to be 6, better 7, better 8. And I think you got to – Jung-Hoo is a talented player, but I don't know. I don't know what you guys see. I'd love to hear it. But to me, he has no consistent plan at the plate, and it's because he's all over the lineup, and I don't think he knows what he's being asked to do. Let's see him up top, take some pitches, work some counts, get on base. I'd love to see the money up top. I'd love to see Jung-Hoo and Adames and Devers 1, 2, 3 for like a couple weeks instead of juggling it and putting leadoff guys up top. I don't want to see Ramos. I want to see Ramos down. I want to see the money up top. Give me your guys' thoughts on Jung-Hoo up top, leading off.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think Larry's right about all these different things we're talking about, but I think he's right on with this. The biggest problem is they're not scoring enough runs. I think it's if they can just get a little better offensively, they got a shot. But what we haven't seen yet is it seems like they can't get more than a couple guys hot at any one time. So right now, Willie Adames is swinging the bat better, right? He didn't do much today, but he's had a pretty good month, right? So Adames looks like he's back. I think you go, when you start talking about Ramos and Devers and Adames and Chapman and Jung-Hoo, those are your guys, right? But right now, the only guy that's doing anything is Adames. I mean, I looked up the numbers, guys. Ramos, and this includes today, 9 for his last 60. That's a 150 average. Devers, since he's been a Giant, he's 18 for 89. That's a 202 average with 9 RBIs. Chapman, since coming back, 6 for 32. Jung-Hoo will have a good game, and then he won't do anything for a couple of games. They got to get this group going as a group, not just one guy. Well, Willie's hot. That's great, but nobody else is doing anything. And the guys at the bottom of the order, that is what it is. I think Schmidt will help down there. Bailey's Bailey. He's going to play. We got to live with what he does offensively. And then you got the Matos and Yaz situation. So the lineup thing is interesting to me, and I think Larry has a point. I don't know if I 100% agree with it, but I think a lot about the lineup. And I know Bob wanted to try the Ramos Devers thing up top. Well, now neither of those guys are doing anything, so now you just don't have any momentum offensively. So, maybe it's time, like Larry said, let's get Jung-Hoo back in at the top and then see how you want to, put guys after him. I don't know, but if they don't take a step up offensively, it doesn't have to be a big step, where they start winning these close games, games like today, where the top 5 guys go 1 for 19 or top 4 guys, you're going to keep losing those games. So just a little step up, and I think you'll start winning more of these close games. And then you got a shot. But I've said it all along, guys, if the offense doesn't take another step up, I don't think they're going to make the postseason because they lose too many games like we've seen in the last 2 days.
Makes sense. Let's get to these super chats real quick, Marty. Ibrahim donates $10. Frustration aside, if I told you, or if you told me at the break, the Giants were 7 games above 500, Root turned into a find, Ray regained Cy Young form, and we got Devers, I'd have been over the moon. Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I mean, that's perspective. I mean, there's been a lot of, if anybody tuned into this, I mean, let's be honest about our perspective on this. All of us, and this is a positive, I think, have upped our standards for what our expectations are of this club from opening day to today. So that's a good thing, because that means that we see enough talent and we see enough hope and enough potential to feel like there's something there. I do agree with Glenn, though, on this. The bats have got, the Giants are going to have to, they're not going to be able to pitch everybody to perfectly and play perfect D. They're going to have to get some bats going, get some easy runs, subsequently some easy wins. It's going to take that, I think, and it may take adding another bat that's maybe not a valuable bat like Devers, but another bat that's maybe going good. It'd be nice if they could find somebody they could add who's like really hot. And I mentioned Ramon Laureano because Laureano had a 350 on base and like 275, 280 average. Give me some one bat that Melvin could add into the mix that's really swinging it. I think that might loosen the log jam, because you get the feeling that there's maybe some guys pressing a little bit.
Yeah,
I agree with that, Larry. And I wrote down names of guys who could we get, and I wrote down Laureano's name. They need a right-handed hitting outfielder, in my opinion, in the worst way. And that's not anti-Luis Matos. I'm saying they need another bat.
He plays good defense too, Laureano.
Yeah, and Bob knows him. Bob likes him.
He's got a great arm.
Yeah, he's got some fire. Maybe you want a little of that too, Larry. A guy who's going to bring a little,
red ass,
a little attitude.
He's kind of like a Burnsy. He kind of reminds me of like an Eric Burns. It's like this guy's going to play with like reckless abandon, and when you see it, it's infectious.
Yeah, and he's going to be dumped. If you got him, you dump him in the middle of a pennant race, and guys dig that. I don't know. I mean, there's obviously other names that will kick around in the next couple of weeks, but I did think about Ramon, and he was having a pretty good year in Baltimore. So who knows? But they need another bat, and really the outfield is, I guess, almost the only spot you can go to as far as other positions. But who knows? We'll see.
All right, you got Claudette Vending, 896, donates $10. Like and subscribe. Baseball is better when we have that Los Angeles and San Francisco rivalry is competitive. Thoughts on our new number 13 pick, Gavin Kylan? What is it? Shortstop out of Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. Also, 2 moves Buster makes before the deadline. Thanks, fellas. So a little prognostication here.
Yeah.
Well, and we should say Claudaddy Arcades, by the way, is a big sponsor of the Krueger Show. Check them out on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades for all their locations. They got a brand new one coming up in Capitola and one in Visalia Mall opening this summer. And thanks to Claudaddy Arcades for sponsoring the Krueger Show. As far as the draft today, I've got so many things going on that I saw that the Giants were projected to take Kyson Witherspoon from Oklahoma, but you're saying they didn't. Who did they wind up taking?
Shortstop. See.
Yeah, they took a shortstop from Tennessee, but I guess I just looked a little bit. Gavin Killen, Kilen is his name. Said he's a middle infielder. He actually played quite a bit of second base from what I'm just reading. Left-handed hitter, bat to ball skills, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to act like I know anything about him. But they did say he's played a lot of second base this year. So maybe, who knows? Maybe a college kid, maybe a little bit of an advanced hitter. Maybe he moves quickly. Who knows? But the left-handed hitter makes me think of Joe Panic a little bit. I don't know. But I don't know if he's got power or anything. So
all right, I want to go back to this lineup thing a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like Jung-Ho Lee leading off. I do. I think it changes him as a hitter. It changes his mentality. He now has to go the other way. He has to think about laying a bunt down. He has to think about getting on base, not driving in runs. He's got to just use his bat to ball skills like Kim does. Kim is great the way he plays. He tries to reach everything and just slap it up the middle into the outfield. Whatever he can do. He won the game for him on Saturday with a base hit. They just slept. That's the kind of hitter Lee has got to become. Right. I want him first. The guys who are here have got to hit. You can add Luriano, who's a nice player, but come on. It's Luriano. Well, what is he going to do, really? He's not going to turn this thing around. Adames has got to hit, and he's got to get fastballs to hit. If you bring in pitchers who can throw breaking balls, he'll never get a hit. So he needs somebody behind him who's a threat. So he'll get some fastballs to hit. And that's what Lee needs as well. He needs somebody behind him. Devers is the key to the whole picture for me. He is your number 3, your number 4 hitter. He crushed the ball today. He's crushed a few of them that have not gone out of the park. And then he's got almost 30 strikeouts, and Glen says 90 or 100 at bats. It's just too many. He's got a bad back. He's into anti-inflammatories. They said a disc. He's in trouble. He's got to hit. That's critical. Chapman is Chapman. He's going to hit some, and he's not going to hit some. That's the way he plays. Flores, you're going to have to. I like him coming off the bench. I like Flores late in the game. Someone said that in the chat about Flores coming in late in the game. Bring Dom Smith in to play. Bring Flores in late in the game to pinch hit. I like that. But the whole thing for me is you got to have the guys who are here get the job done. Ramos has got to get the job done.
He's popping up a lot. Yeah.
Get him out of the top of the order.
I think he's tired. Yeah, he looks tired to me. I mean, maybe
get him out of there. Get him deeper in the lineup where he can get hits and do some damage and drive in a run. But he's not going to drive in runs when he's got Bailey ahead of him and he's got Schmidt ahead of him. These guys are still as much as we love Schmidt and we love Bailey, there's still projects at the plate. There's no question about it. There's still projects at the plate. Matos, I think, has got some power. And this is a team that needs power. So they will pitch. They got the best pitching in the National League. They got the best bullpen in baseball. That will be enough to keep them into this thing. But the guys who are here now have got to hit. If you can get a Josh Naylor, yes, will help tremendously to have another bat in the lineup. But you could bring in Hank Aaron. And if the other guys don't hit, it doesn't matter. The other guys have got to hit, and they're not hitting. And then 1 for 19 at the top of the order was the big deal for me. So you got to get these guys better. Adames needs better pitches to hit. And if Devers is doing damage, he's going to get them, because then you're going to go right after Adames. You don't want to walk him and have a guy on for Devers. Same thing with Lee. If Adames starts doing something, Lee is going to get better pitches to hit. It's got to be done here, but I'll say it again, what I said in spring training. They got the best pitching. What do they need to answer the question? I think they need a starting pitcher. I think at some point, and you can't get one in August. You can't say, gee, it's September, we better get a starting pitcher. You got to do it now. And they have to get a starting pitcher, and they probably could use another bullpen guy. They probably
Mark Simon was on the show not that long ago, and he was talking about the Giants' number 3 pitcher is not on the roster currently. He's playing on another team somewhere. I'm guessing that's what he's trying to say. The Giants need
Landry's a lot of fun, and he's getting better. Yes, he is. But if you can't is he going to start game 3 of a playoff?
No.
Is he, you got Robbie Ray and Webb. You got 2 fabulous pitchers, and you got to have something. Is Roop going to throw 175 innings? You got to deal with it now. You can't wait till August or September and say, oh, it's time. I'm sorry, Birdsong's not right. Birdsong should be in the bullpen. The guy was fabulous for an inning or 2 out of the pen. Put him in there. He's a shutdown guy in the bullpen, and they need that. So that's my thought. The guys who are here have got to get it done.
I mean, the only thing is the guys that are here. I mean, it's now, we're almost approaching August, and the guys that are here have proven, only thing they've proven is they're not good enough offensively. Well, I threw out Laureano. I mean, Laureano today went 2 for 3. He's hitting 284 with a 350 on base. He had a double. He hit his 11th home run of the year. I don't think it's a one-bat situation. I think they're a couple bats away, to be honest. LA has a lot more firepower. Devers was brought here to give them a lot of firepower. As you said, he's physically probably not right. It was still an awesome trade. Yeah. But Buster made a point, and I heard it earlier today. I think it was either on NBC Sports Bay Area. It might have been on the pregame show. Where Buster basically came out and he just said, hey, look, it is time for us to set a tone. He came out, he said, it's really important for us to establish an identity. And basically what he's talking about is establish a new identity as winners, as an organization that's going to fight the Dodgers tooth and nail. So I don't think this year's like every other year. I think it's a pivotal year. I think it's a year for the Giants to send a message. Now, the team that I would call is the Orioles, and I would try to get Ryan O'Hearn as well. I think the Giants need another option at first base. I think they need another outfield bat. If you could throw Zach Eflin or something like that, another arm in there, great. But I think they're geared arm-wise to do it from within. And I think the arm you need might be one that you already have in Wisenhunt. So I'd like to see Wisenhunt promoted between now and, let's say, the 20th. So like a week. I'd like to see him promoted in the next week just to take a glimpse, see what he looks like, see if you think he can help you or if he's only a trade piece going into the final week of the trade deadline, before the deadline. But, yeah, I think they're a couple bats away. I really do. I mean, their defense is what it is. They're pitching. They're going to go pitching, with what internally, I think, unless it's a marginal player. I mean, if you could get into Roldis Chapman and a lefty reliever who could close some games, that would be awesome. But and I'd be willing to move Luciano. I'm willing to move some of the prospects to try to go for it this year. But I think Baltimore's the team. They're 11 under or whatever. They got destroyed 11-1 today. They're about ready to give up hope on the year. They've got O'Hearn, who's doing really well offensively at first. He would be a nice upgrade. And they have Mullins. I mean, they got all kinds of guys that you could definitely use. I think they're a good match for the Giants.
Yeah, you know what? I've thrown the name, and I think they need a starting pitcher. I think they need a reliever, and they need a hitter. I mean, I think we could probably all come pretty close to agreeing on that. You know, and there's two tiers if you think about it, guys. Do you get the veteran guy that's not going to cost you a lot, that has some battle scars and he can pitch in the postseason? I've thrown this name out like a Charlie Morton, right? I mean, a real veteran guy.
Yeah.
Or do you drop down,
one.
or do you go to the other level of a guy who's going to cost you significantly more, like a Joe Ryan? Again, I'm just throwing names out there, or the kid in Pittsburgh, Keller.
Mitch Keller.
These guys are guys that are going to, Keller's got a contract. Ryan isn't a free agent for 3 more years. That kind of guy where you're going to have to give up significantly more, but then you got a guy who's going to be in your rotation for a couple years after this year. So that's sort of a decision you got to make.
I like the former. I like the idea because I think there's real advantage. I mean, maybe some too many conversations with Ned Coletti, but I really believe that guys do learn from one another at the big league level. I don't believe necessarily in coaches, but I do believe that the veteran players really do teach the game to the younger players. I think there's a major advantage to having a Verlander in the room, and I would love to see the Roops and some of the young arms, the Wisenhunts, and these guys around a guy like Charlie Morton. I mean, Charlie Morton's a big game professional. He's done it in the playoffs in October. He's a pitcher. He's a power arm guy, but he's a pitcher. And I think you can't go wrong that way with those veteran pitchers.
And it's not going to cost you as much either. I mean, you can get it. You can get a guy like that for probably maybe a mid-level prospect. You're not going to
have him. Don't you have him in Verlander?
I was just going to say, it's a 40-year-old pitcher.
Well, why would you want to have another 40-year-old pitcher?
Well, I mean, we're talking about 2 months. We're talking about August and September. We're not talking about next year. We're not talking about, I don't care how old the guy is. If he's a veteran guy that's got some battle scars and pitched in big games,
all right,
and
he's got something left.
And again, we keep using this name because it's an example of Morton, where he wasn't pitching very good at the beginning of the year, but now he is pitching good. I got no problem with that.
Like Michael Wacha or Lugo.
Yeah,
how about
Lugo?
I threw a name out last week that I loved what I saw from Adrian Hauser from the White Sox.
Adrian Hauser's a good one. Yeah.
He's not a career dominator by any stretch, but you know what? He looked really good against the Giants, and I didn't think anything there was accidental. That is a pitcher with multiple pitches who's going good.
That's a good call, Larry. I think the Giants have thought about him too, because they saw it. It's not going to cost them a lot. And he's with the White Sox. So the White Sox are, they're looking to move a guy like that, who I think will be a free agent at the end of the year. But, that's a good call. He's not a big name guy, but you don't know what, it's not so much about, well, he's going to take Verlander's place. No, it's not that. It's like, well, Roop's good. Verlander's fine. The Birdsong thing is a huge question mark. And at this point, I'm not worried about who's going to start game 3 of the postseason. I'm worried about what do you got to do to get there.
You better hit.
Right.
You better hit. You better hit. You got pitching. You got pitching. And look, we're only, as you point out, we've only got 65 more games to go. It's not like you got to have 30 starts. Yeah. Give me another 30 days. Give me 3 or 4 great starts for the rotation, and keep me in this thing to September. Yeah. That's what I'm asking.
I got a super chat question. The great philosopher, Captain Obvious, once said that a team with a lot of streaky, inconsistent hitters will yield a streaky and inconsistent season.
There you go.
You can't argue that. And that's kind of what we're right now. What we're hoping for is, 2.5 months where they can find some consistency with that offense.
The bullpen is the best in baseball. And let's face it, you get a lead in the 6th inning. Walker's been pitching pretty well now. Lucchesi is good enough right now. As from the left, they need somebody else. And then you go to Rodriguez, who's outstanding. And then you get Rogers, who you're going to see 2 ground balls to second at bet. That's all he's given up. And then you go to Duvall, who, as crazy as he is, he's been, he's got the arm. He showed it today. He looks like he's in trouble, and then somehow Bailey brings him through the inning. I don't know how he does it, but
he's got the Brian Wilson vibes, no doubt about it.
So they do have the pen, and they've got decent starting pitching. How about Chris Martin? The big tall guy. He's in Texas. I always liked him. And Texas probably has people who are available. So maybe one guy, maybe someone like that, as opposed, I love Spencer Bivens. Bivens is a great story, great guy. But maybe you need a regular relief pitcher, a guy who's done it his whole career to come in. The Dodgers have no right-handed reliever. They got Trevino and Yates, and they got Kasparius came in today. They're in big trouble, the Dodgers. You can catch them. You can put more pressure on them. You really can. And so we'll see. But you got to hit.
I mean, their guy is blown. Scott has the most blown. I mean, the Dodgers would be running away and hiding if Scott had a tremendous first half. He has 7 blown saves.
Is there a team that has more meetings at the mound?
Oh, I know. And if you do anything, you get a bloop single to the opposite field. Pryor gets an itch, and he just has got to get out there.
Hey, if you put in a pinch hitter, and it could be the first hitter of the inning, he'll come out and talk to you. And he did.
I think Pryor. I thought saw something around Pryor's wrist. Maybe he's getting his steps in. Maybe
they did it with Matos. Matos pinch hit. He comes running out, has this big conversation, and runs back in. Matos swings from his ass, so he wants to hit it out. It was the hardest swing I've ever seen. And then he throws a bloop to him, a little hanging curveball that he fucking crushes.
Destroyed it.
Hey, I got a question for you guys that I was thinking of when I was watching this game. Since we've all watched baseball a long time, who do you guys see when you see Yamamoto? Is there any? Because there is a guy. Now maybe maybe I'm a comp guy, but I see a very strong comp. First of all, he's a great pitcher.
How long ago? What's your comp? How long ago?
How about the guy from
he's
Boston?
a guy from the late 80s.
How about the guy from Boston, the Japanese pitcher from Boston? Remember that guy?
Oh yeah,
he had the gyro pitch and all that.
Deal,
Daisuke Matsuzaka.
Daisuke. That deliberate look. He's
what about who is the Levon Hernandez half brother, El Duque?
No, yeah, well, El Duque was like Gumby. He was really bendy.
This guy's like a machine. He's very deliberate.
He's small. Think about it this way: he's small in stature.
Freddie Norman.
He's small in stature. He's a righty who's small in stature, but he has a power arsenal. But he also can paint with multiple pitches. He reminds me of David Cone.
David Cone? Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Because, you're looking at him going, where's the power coming from? Right? There's no length or angles or anything. And I was always amazed how much power Cone had in his arsenal. But then Cone also could paint with multiple pitches on the corners. I thought Yamamoto was fantastic today.
Yeah,
I thought he was awesome.
Hey, and what did he throw? Really, he's four seam, right? But he has command, and then he
got great command. Yeah, he's right on the edges and off.
But he took a couple of curveballs.
Yeah, he spins a pretty good curve in there. He doesn't throw it a lot, but it's there.
No, Schmidt, I think it was.
Schmidt missed it by a foot. Yeah.
Well, Schmidt's looking at it for a fastball, which you got to be careful with those guesses. Yeah,
Yamamoto's the best thing they got going right now.
Oh, he looks great. He looks great.
Yeah.
I kind of see Cone. The other one, I thought Schmidt got hosed. I thought on that high strike.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen enough of the umpires? I'm really sure they're going to do the automatic. The ball strike thing in the All-Star game where they can challenge the calls. It has to happen in Major League Baseball. I cannot watch these games and the ball is two balls, 3 balls outside or up and in. It's on the plate. They don't call it. Come on. It's time. It's time. It's time.
Well, it's time for what, Marty? What do you advocating for?
Automatic ball strike system.
So
where you
just
can count.
take the home play. So the look would be what for those of us who aren't following this really
Do the
intently.
challenge
You would
system.
have the guy
challenge
there,
system.
right? You would have the ump there, but it would be made. The calls would be made from
Not all of them.
No.
You don't have to have all of them, but you have to be able to. Come on.
You want a challenge system.
I want the challenge system.
That's
The
what
hitter,
so easy. It's so easy. I saw it in River Cats. You
the
just
hitter
tap
walks
your head.
away, throwing his hands up in the
Almost like-
air, going to the umpire. What are you kidding? And then they show the box and it's outside. So the hitter knows it, and the pitcher knows it too. Give them their 3 challenges.
You know what?
These situations don't have to happen.
I talked about this on one of my shows recently, and I think it's definitely coming. I think it's going to be fascinating because the only people that can challenge are the pitcher,
Right.
the catcher, and the hitter.
Right.
Now, you guys have watched a lot of baseball. Which one of those guys is going to have the best challenge percentage?
The hitter. I think the
I don't
hitter.
know.
I think the catcher.
I don't know. I think maybe the
hitter
catcher.
knows.
The catcher.
Maybe the
I would say
catcher.
the catcher.
But a hitter, I mean, a hitter is
I just
always
think-
he is always going to not always, but his initial thought is going to say, if it's close, his initial thought is going to be that was a ball, and he has to ask for it right away.
Mm-hmm.
The pitcher's initial thought on a close pitch is that was a strike, but you have to ask for it right away. You
But
don't
look
have
at how many.
to.
I know. Look at how many bad pitches come into hitters, and immediately the hitter, Bryce Harper, immediately the hitter backs off and said, "What? Are you kidding?"
Yeah.
You
Right.
see,
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? By the way, if that were if it was that way and the catcher got to do it, catchers would be treated in baseball the way quarterbacks are treated in the NFL. That guys would be buying their catcher Toyotas and gifts and I bought Bailey a new set of golf clubs. I mean, because he's got your future basically. He can challenge. Or if you got a catcher that just the catcher hated a pitcher and he's like, I'm not challenging that. I'm not challenging that.
But
I
there's
think
a strategy to this too, right? Do you take any chances early in the game on a ball strike, or you're not going to take? Do you take?
I think you do in some of these
runners on
postseason
base?
games where the lead means so much. Yeah, I might challenge in the first if I'm
But
on the
you
road
better-
in Yankee
you
Stadium
better
or
be
something.
right. But
Yeah,
exactly. We're all saying, well, if I challenge this, I'm automatically going to be right. I don't think that's the case. I think there's going to be challenges because you have to do it immediately after the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
I know. But
You
how
have
many
This
times
ball
do you
is called
see
a ball, you have to go like this if you
I
want
know.
to challenge.
How many times do you see the hitter react on a pitch that's not in that box? You see it constantly.
Mhm.
Yemsky does it all. It happens to him constantly.
But you better be right, because if you're not right, you're putting your
Well,
team in a hole.
That's
Yeah.
the problem because there's only 3. Now,
It's
if you
only
get
3.
it right,
I think
You
it's
know-
2. I think it's 2 in the All-Star game, isn't it? Or is it 3?
that I don't
I'm not
know.
sure what they're doing for the All-Star game, but yeah.
I think
In the
it was
minor leagues, it's 3. Yeah.
2 in spring training. I want to say maybe it was 2, but it could be 3. But I think it's fascinating. I do.
There was one other thing I wanted to ask you guys today. We all watched the game, right? So does that mean by definition we all like signed up for Roku or whatever, right? Because it was on.
Was it on the radio?
MLB app.
Was the game on the radio?
Okay.
Game was on the radio.
I couldn't
game-
hear it. I couldn't get it on the radio.
The game was definitely on the radio, but it was not on NBC Sports Bay Area. It was on this Roku thing. So anyway, I signed up, but part of, I'm sure, the massive amounts of cash that Roku cut for the exclusivity of the game, they got unbelievably, this is not spring training, they got a mic'd up Matt Chapman in the
Yeah, they
bottom
did.
of the 6th of Giants Dodgers, and Teoscar Hernandez is up at the plate. I mean, Teoscar Hernandez, it was 2 outs, but I mean, Teoscar Hernandez can hit the ball 115 miles an hour and take off Chapman's head, and you got guys up in the booth asking him about his how he plays every ball. Now he did, because Chapman's such a good dude, play along nice And he did give them an amazing anecdote. And I wanted to ask you guys what you thought of it. He talked about how every year that goes by, and when I coached Little League, I used to say, guys, I only have one rule on defense: play every pitch. And so that's what Chapman does to an extreme. He gets really wide and really low, like almost to the point where his butt's on the ground on every pitch.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to, that to me was an interesting little anecdote. But what do you guys think of in-game interviews? It just played like this belongs nowhere near this. It just seemed,
Glenn,
I just think it just seemed wrong to me. I don't know. What did you guys think?
Well, Glenn, what did you think? You did it. You used to do it.
I hated doing it. A player on the field, I think I don't like that at all. I know with the A's, occasionally, if the starting pitcher came out of the game and he was done, he'd pop a headset on and we would talk to him. But even that was weird. It's just, I'm not a big fan. A player on the field, I don't like. I know, TV executives think it's the greatest thing ever, and I get it, but a lot of these executives are thinking it's something different, right? But when ESPN does it, well, then Roku's got to do it, and NBC's got to do it, and so if they see it out there, then everybody thinks, well, they just did something cool. We got to do that. But who knows? I mean, listen, these guys, these players, maybe they're getting paid to do it. Something to
Maybe.
think about.
I think it's a line that should not be crossed. If we can close our eyes right now and say, we're 20 years from now, Jaden Daniels will still be playing in the NFL, and he'll be in Super Bowl 100, and he'll be rolling right, about to throw a pass, and he tells a joke because he's mic'd up. That will not be sports at its finest. That will be sports taking a step back, in my opinion.
Say this: the interviews of the players are generally a little interesting. You get better questions. You get better questions. You get some better reactions, and they are in the field, so you get the feel of that happening. The interviews of the managers are worthless.
Yeah, that's bad too.
Absolutely worthless.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It should not be part of anything. When I see that coming, I just put it on mute. Those are the last questions I wanted. They'll never tell you anything.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what would be really, really interesting is if all of a sudden we got a chance to hear from Buster or Sabes back in the day, like an executive sitting in a suite who's keeping score, who's really smart, who knows it. It's like, what does he say? What doesn't he say? It's still kind of awkward, but at least you're not crossing the line of talking to the competitors, and like to see Chapman trying to position himself and communicate with the other infielders, and it just was so out of place. And it was like, I know somebody who's thinking, wow, that was awesome, but I don't think it was awesome.
Well, I think it's a look behind the curtain. It doesn't offend me as much as the manager does.
Yeah,
that one is. And Glenn, you've done the manager.
Yeah,
that's
the manager
world.
It's a joke,
Yeah.
and the only reason it's done is because you can say, well, we interviewed the manager, but
right.
I mean, that's it. You're not getting anything. The managers don't give you anything anyways in general, because that's the way they are. They keep it close to this. And then an in-game one, no. We did it with the A's. We'd interview Bob, and Bob's been doing this for 25 years. He's not going to say anything, but some people want to be able to say, yeah, but we interview the manager, every Friday night. To me, it's just a waste. I don't think it's good TV at all. I don't. I think it's show me the game, right? Show me the game.
Right. Fuji donates $2, says it seems distraction if I'm a pitcher.
Well, they're not going to be. Have they done to the catcher for the Yankees a couple of years ago was pretty good. Remember that Trevino? They had him mic'd up in the playoffs. I think, wasn't that him?
I can't.
I thought he was pretty good.
Don't remember that.
Remember the catcher for the Yankees? I think that's who he was
during the game. Well, that's the catcher, man. That's like the most
That was
important
pretty
guy
good.
out. Yeah.
I thought that was okay.
I mean, listen, if you want to do this stuff in an all-star game,
Yeah,
Right.
then I'm okay with it because I don't care who wins. I'm not locked in on it. Guys will be relaxed. They'll have more fun. If something weird happens, it's not going to cost the team a run, or you know what I mean.
It's for March. It should be done in March. It's a March move.
Yeah.
It's great in March. Are you kidding me? If I'm watching and all of a sudden, you get the play-by-play guy and the color analyst, and they're chopping it up with some guy in the dugout in March 17th in Salt River, I'm loving it.
I'd love to have John Washington mic'd. I want Wash. Wash is the guy. He was the best. He was the best interview ever.
Yeah, Wash.
I'll tell you who was pretty volatile. When I went into his clubhouse was Ozzie Guillen. If there's anybody that I'd like a live mic, I think it would be Ozzie Guillen.
Have you ever heard Ozzie Guillen on the White Sox pregame and postgame show?
No.
Good. Oh my goodness!
You can't pull fat.
Imagine.
That's his greatest line. You can't pull fat.
You get fired for saying a lot of the stuff he says.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I can't understand a lot of the things that is going on with him. He's a tough listen. He's a tough listen. I'll tell you, I listened to the Philly pre and post game when the Phillies were in town. Philly, they don't pull any punches. Ricky Batalico, when for Romano, if Romano might as well just pack his bag after listening to Ricky Batalico talk about him. I mean, he's something else. The Phillies do it right, I must say. Yeah.
In what way, you mean?
Well, they will tell you exactly what's happening. Exactly.
I was in a cab one time in Philly, and I'm listening to the guy's listening to sports radio, and I'm listening to this thing, and this guy calls up. I forget what the host and caller's like. Hey, what do you think of Tyson Chandler? And then he's like, what are you obsessed with him? Was he your kid brother? He's like, he asked another question about Tyson Chandler. And he's like, hey, Bob, you've asked me 3 questions. Can I have a question for you? And he's like, yeah, sure. What's your question? He's like, why don't you shut up? And then the cab driver looks over the seat and he's like, these guys are great. These guys are great.
How would you like to be doing talk radio in Philadelphia?
Everybody hates everybody.
Come on, seriously.
It's like Larry. It's like Pete Franklin, right? The great Pete Franklin.
You flushed this bum.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
New York baseball. Try to explain why a guy didn't tag up when he should have tagged up, and you take the other approach. They'd kill you. They'd kill you.
Oh, yeah. Or anybody who doesn't hustle and somebody tries to call up to defend not hustling. Oh, my God.
Who was it? Dodgers? I know you talked about this earlier. Who didn't tag up on the fly ball to right?
It was Schmidt.
No, there's someone on the Dodgers didn't tag up. Also, the Schmidt was on the Devers ball, but the Dodgers was
but Schmidt didn't tag on the ball prior to Devers.
On the Bailey ball, Schmidt was on third. Schmidt was on second, and Bailey was the first hitter after him in the 10th inning. He missed the bunt twice.
Right.
And then he hit the fly ball to center field.
But it wasn't quite deep enough, at least he thought, to tag. I was hoping that he was going to tag and give it a go, but he didn't even fake it.
Hey, you know what? There's something I wanted to ask you guys about. And I'm not trying to sabotage the show here, but it's completely different than what we're talking about. I really wanted you guys' opinion on this. The Mizorowski kid from the Brewers getting named to the All-Star game. Very controversial. Boy, the more you read about it, I mean, teams are coming out and saying, no, The Giants weren't happy about it. Not the kid's fault, but MLB puts the Brewers young man in the All-Star game after 5 starts. That's it. Right. Now, he's a great show, whatever. I get it. But
they're desperate. They're desperate, Glenn, for a young marketable face,
Yeah.
and they want to make sure they're all inclusive and they have the people in the game that the most people want to see. And I think they're sensing that, like what we're all sensing, that there's this little groundswell of support and enthusiasm for this kid. But if you're right, if we're talking about all-star games are deserved based on merit, and the players believe very strongly in the meritocracy of the whole thing, it doesn't play right.
I didn't like it. I thought it was wrong. And I Larry's right. Major League Baseball has always had kind of an issue. They don't promote their young stars very well. They're getting better at it. Okay. But you got 80 all-stars now. Are you going to tell me that there's not a bunch of them that are really good young players that you could really pump up there? You have to bring this kid in?
Well, but they don't care about us. They don't care about our opinion. Our opinion doesn't matter to them at all.
Well, I think they do, though. That's why he's on there, because they're trying to get –
No, but it's also about the same reason Jazz Chisholm's part of Home Run Derby. I mean, he's got 17 home runs. He's hitting with some power. They're trying to engage the Bronx fans because there are so many of them,
and they want a younger crowd. The younger crowd isn't gonna say, "Gee whiz, what about Tyler Rogers? You mean he's not on the team?" And they took Mizorowski. They want to see Mizorowski throw 101 miles an hour.
But my point is there's enough young star players in the All-Star game that will get young kids interest. There's a ton of young stars in the game now.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to take this. I don't think it's fair. I don't like what they did.
It's not
Glenn, let's talk about it though, because the commissioner of the game, I don't think really has a real good feel for all the things that need to be done. So they tried everything, right? They tried the pitch clock, and the pitch clock's been great. But now we're in an era where the pitch clock's been so great, it's worked so well that we don't need this garbage extra inning rule, but we still have it because it was one of multiple ideas to speed up the game. And so now it doesn't affect October because it doesn't happen in October. But I think the two ideas were both good ideas. They should have done maybe one or not the other. The pitch clock worked. I don't think we need to do the extra inning thing. Or how about this? The pitch clock works so well. How about let's do the extra inning thing in the 12th?
Yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea. But this one kind of bothered me, and I usually don't let stuff like this bother me too much. But I thought it was a mistake because you still have to show appreciation for the people that should be on the All-Star team. I mean, the Sanchez kid in Philadelphia.
Right. Christian Sanchez. Yeah.
I mean, it's to me, it's just not right. I didn't think it was the right thing to do. I think it was an overstretch to say, well, we got to get this Mizorowski kid in there. He's such a great story. You got 80 players that are great stories.
There's no question. Look, you take Soto, Rogers, Sanchez. You can get a million of them.
They're all good stories. I mean, so 5 games. The next closest number as far as fewest games pitched to make the All-Star team was last year. It was Paul Skeens. Okay, so you're saying, well, they did it last year with Skeens. But I looked up Skeens' numbers last year at the All-Star break. Okay, he pitched in 11 games. He was 6-0 with a 1.90 ERA with 89 strikeouts in 66 innings. That's All-Star worthy, don't you guys think?
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
This kid is 4-1 with a 2.81 ERA, 25 innings pitched.
No, there's no defending it. Other than the fact that the audience wants to see it and they're dying for eyeballs to watch the game. Otherwise, people aren't going to watch the game. So they want to create something that people will want to watch the game. Look, this goes back to 1949. I hate to say it, Don Newcomb, when he first was brought up by Brooklyn. He was brought up like in May, and he made the All-Star team. And he was an African-American player. They wanted to have him in the game. And Don Newcomb was put on the All-Star team after, 6 weeks in the major leagues. So it's all marketing. It's all marketing. But the thing for me is Soto. How do you not have Soto? I mean, he's one of the top players that you want to market as an industry.
they don't market anybody. I mean,
You know.
this Gerangelo Cinci, who's a righty and a lefty, should be marketed aggressively as you got to see this guy. Like, you think Bill Veeck would have been talking about Gerangelo Cinci back if he had played for the White Sox in the 70s? It would be like he'd be on the tip of everybody's tongue. This guy's a legitimate two-way pitcher.
That's why
the Futures game, by the way, the Futures game, I taped it today, but I mean, they put it in a throwaway Sunday window in the middle of the day in the summertime when everybody's outside, and while the other games are going on, and baseball's very local. So what, are you going to skip watching Giants Dodgers to watch the Futures game? No, but you're going to DVR it. But I mean, these are your stars of tomorrow, and you're not marketing them very well.
Yeah. No. My thing is like, okay, so this is not the kid's fault, right? I mean, he's just kind of stuck in the middle of this thing. But Jacob Misiorowski, if he does appear in the game, and he probably will, he's going to pitch 1 inning. Now, I don't think that baseball fans all around the country, outside of Milwaukee, where he's the Miz, he's great, he's made 5 starts, are all these baseball fans going to now say, oh man, Jacob Misiorowski made the All-Star. I'm watching this game. I'm going to sit there for 9 innings and hope he pitches. You could ask how many people at Oracle Park this weekend could you pull to the side and say, do you know who Jacob Misiorowski is?
Good
Yeah,
point.
right? I mean, that's my point. It's a cool story. The kid is super fun, right? But there's enough talent at the All-Star game that you don't need to do something extra special just to get one kid in there because he throws 103 miles an hour. That's
let's see how many people watch the game. Let's see how many people, if baseball has an uptick and people watching, they love the home run derby. More people watch that than watch the game. Now, at least they went back to their regular uniforms again. So now they don't look like, ICE or policemen. You guys
watch the home run derby?
Yeah,
I do, but I'll be in the room, I'll be barbecuing. My 15-year-old will watch it. But here's the problem. We don't even have the attention span to watch the home run derby. Home runs land. Remember the old home run derby with Berman was back, gone. Now it's back, and the next pitch is thrown. We don't even see the ball land because we don't have enough attention span to wait for it to land. I mean, it's a train wreck. The dunk contest is a train wreck for basketball, but the home run derby is a train wreck for baseball.
Let people watch it.
Let people watch it. Yeah,
watch it. It gets better ratings in the game.
That's unbelievable. It's crazy
because you pick out your 6 stars and names that people recognize, and the home run is still what sells.
Yeah.
I'm
Giants.
telling you though, I've watched some of these All-Star games the last few years, and I'm a baseball fan. And really, from like 50 yards away, like Aaron Judge might be the only guy. You put them in super drab uniforms that just have the patch of the team on the shoulder. And the only guy you're going to recognize are the Ruthian characters, the guys like Judge. Everybody else looks kind of, it's like, let me see the Giant uniform. Let me see the Dodger uniform. It's not that complicated.
No, it's back. The uniforms are back. You'll see them Tuesday night. That was ridiculous what they had.
That was terrible.
Not only was it a bad idea,
army. It looked like they came out of the military.
Uniforms were ugly.
They were ugly. Yeah, they were drab.
Right?
They look like military people. They look like the platoon arrived. The platoon from Bilko arrived, and that's who was playing the game. It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, what would be really cool if you want to make people really excited and then think it would be cool? Let each player
game means something. How about that?
But how about this? Let each player see that these guys. Manfred, I don't think understands the mindset of the fans. Let the players give them like 20 uniforms give as many uniforms as their franchise has ever had. He can choose any uniform and the fans can vote. And let the fans vote what uniform he's in. So now if they want to make it the Pirates with those hats and the pinstripes and the yellow and engage the fan, let that be interactive. You want to have the Giant uniform from the 70s, the 60s, the whatever, the 80s, you pick interactive. That would be awesome. And you'd get the older fans because we're all like, hey, I remember that uniform. And you would get the younger fans because they'd probably the players would pick a lot of the colorful uniforms. It would be such a winner. It would engage people from different eras. I mean, come on. Hello, McFly, McManfred. Anybody in there?
That's a good one. I like that. That's a good suggestion.
Good idea.
I mean, you know what I think is the coolest uniform I've ever seen? I love the A's uniforms from before I was born. I mean, before I ever watched the A's. So when they had the grays with the green T-shirt and they had the gray sleeveless, like Ken Holtzman in the day. I mean, those uniforms were awesome looking. Go with it. You know what I mean? Everybody, the Astros with the, the rainbow thing. I thought that was really, really cool. Cesar Cedeno back in the day. Go with it.
Larry, when I was with the A's, I used to always say, you know what would be really cool, right? And what's your memory of the A's in the 70s? Mine was the different uniforms.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. They had the cool, everybody was gray and white. The A's were like, screw that. We got gold, we got green, we got what? And I always said, you know what the A's should do? Nobody listened to me, of course. I know that's not a surprise. But have a one weekend a year in the season where you wore the pullover, the gold top on Friday, the green top on Saturday, and as my rest in peace Ray Foste used to say, the wedding gown white, all white A's uniforms on Sunday. They only wore them on Sunday, Larry. Okay? So think about how cool that would be. Like a throwback weekend, gold tops, green tops, white tops, like they did in the 70s.
Yeah,
how nobody ever listened to me.
Yeah, baseball doesn't think like that. Charlie Finley made that happen. Yeah. And everyone hated Charlie Finley. Charlie Finley had the mule. You asked me what I remember about the 70s.
Shorts. They had shorts. Lamar John.
The mule went on the road trips. When they check into the hotel, the mule would check in too. That's Charlie O, the mule.
Wilbur Wood in 77 was wearing shorts.
That's right. They wore White Sox wore shorts for
White Sox, yeah.
3 games that year.
They had collars. They had collars. Yeah. Chet Lemon had the collar. Heck, Kuiper, your bro wore the red on red, right? The Gabe Paul red on red.
Yeah. People, 75 and 76 they wore.
Baseball doesn't like this stuff. They don't like changes. It's very hard to get anything to change. Bill Veeck, when he was the owner, he did the exploding scoreboard in Chicago in Comiskey Park. They never had that before. They hit a home run in the scoreboard. I think they still have it, Glenn, don't they, in Chicago?
Yeah, I think they moved it. They moved the actual big pipes over, I think, to the new stadium. Yeah.
The thing he did that he brought a height challenged person in to pinch hit. Yeah, he did that. Right. He had the fans vote on whether they should hit and run or bunt by holding cards up behind the coach on third base. He did, but baseball hated him, and they drove him out of the game after the White Sox. They made him give up the White Sox. He would have had the team in Baltimore, but they wouldn't allow him to own the team. They kept him in St. Louis. So my point is that baseball doesn't change. It's very difficult. But the things that people bring up, because look at the Savannah Bananas. Have you seen this thing? The Savannah Bananas?
Yeah.
I
get a lot of attention
on TV the other night. They were in Fenway Park. The place was sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Before the game, they must have had 50,000 people out on the street before the Savannah Banana games. It has rules that if you hit a foul ball in the stands and a fan catches it, you're out. That's people like having fun at the ballpark, and it's entertainment, and that's where we get back to Mizorowski. they think this is entertainment to see a guy throw 102 and introduce him to the world. It's like Mark Fidrich, the bird. He used to talk to the ball.
Yeah.
It was the biggest thing in the world. He would talk to the ball. The shortstop made a play at short. He'd run over and shake his hand.
Marty, if you look at Fidrich's numbers at the All-Star break, they were more than All-Star worthy in 1976. He was like the best pitcher in baseball. This kid with the Brewers is fun to watch, but he's only made 5 starts.
Right.
You're getting no argument from me.
So, anyways, I was really curious what your thoughts were on that whole thing.
Well, you asked the question and you got it.
Yeah, I mean, we went into a whole discussion.
Content we got.
Yeah, you got it. All right. Well, this was fun.
Yes.
Fuji Simeon asked the question. He says, thoughts on every team getting at least one all-star player in the game. Now, I think this is, as you expand further and further, this gets more and more difficult to do. But I also kind of think that they ought to keep this rule in there. I think this is, you have to. Baseball is maybe celebrated at the World Series and at the Midsummer Classic nationally, but baseball really is local and regional, and you got to include everybody. I really believe that. Even if a guy's marginal, even if a guy's a borderline, whatever, so be it. Every team needs to be represented.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
The best part is the introductions. And they all come out in their own uniform, and they stand on this. I love the introduction. I'd rather watch the introduction than watch the game.
Yeah, good call.
And see the players who are going to be introduced. So yeah, I agree. They should have somebody from every team. Every team should be represented in it. Yeah, why not? And I wish it was a game. I do. I wish that they could play a little more of a game. Keep the starters in for 6 innings or something. Or let
this time it counts. You want to that one?
It doesn't. That was a disaster. That was a disaster. But I'd like to see. Hey, I would like to see Skubal pitch 2 innings. I'd like to see Skeens pitch 2 to 3 innings. Why not? Well, these guys are so valuable now that they don't want to hurt anybody in the All-Star game. So, but it's
I mean, if you listen to Willie Mays and listen to Joe Morgan and listen to many of the athletes from the 60s and 70s who played this game, there was a real rivalry, NL, AL, and the NL players really wanted to take it to the AL players, and they really did. I mean, basically my whole lifetime, the NL won the All-Star game until it happened, 20 years or whatever. It was just a foregone conclusion the NL was going to win. So I think it just meant a lot. It meant a lot to Mays. It meant a lot. I mean, Marty, you've talked to him.
It was great. It was the biggest deal. How about, the old story, Walter Alston went up to Mays and talked about the lineup, and Mays told him, look, bat me first, Clemente second, Aaron third, and I don't care what you do after that.
He said, it doesn't matter after that.
Yeah.
And he said that too.
Do whatever you want after that. And look at Ichiro. Glenn, you know the story with Ichiro. Every time, he was on the All-Star team and they do this big pep talk, and he would end it by F the National League. Ichiro, stand up in the clubhouse and scream
in English. He would do it in English.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite memories was playing golf with Vita Blue and having that time to tell me, I go, Vita, can you walk me through your 71 All-Star game at Tiger Stadium?
Jenkins and I did that this morning.
But I mean, this was Vita talking about, because Vita was a big Mays fan, so he was kind of shaking in his boots. And I remember, this is over over 2 holes of golf, and he's talking about, and then I faced this guy, and then I faced that, and we're talking about maybe one of the most celebrated All-Star games of the last 50 years.
Yeah, maybe the best ever.
Maybe,
yeah. Bruce said they had 22 Hall of Famers.
Jackson hit one off the light tower. And he was a young Reggie.
Al Kaline said it would have gone 600 feet if it didn't hit the light tower.
Wow.
Al Kaline was cool. Did you ever meet Al Kaline, Glenn?
Yeah, nicest man in the world. He just passed away not long ago. But every time we went to Detroit, he was always there. And what was cool is he would always come in our booth because he and Ray played against each other,
Yeah.
many years. So they had a very good relationship. And so he would always come in and talk baseball, and I would just kind of listen because they would start talking about,
It's
the
good
old
stuff.
times, which was, it's like a history lesson if you just listen, right? So
But
it was
that's-
Al Kaline and Ray Fosse talking, and I was like, I'm just going to listen. This is too good. But yeah, one of the nicest people in baseball. Unfortunately, he's not around anymore, but just a terrific guy, man. What a gentleman.
Yeah.
I gotta go, guys, but because my wife's giving me that look. I'm supposed to be barbecuing ribeyes here,
Let's
but I
go.
would love. I'd love. What's that? But I'd love to, since we've all been doing this for a while. If I said to you guys, the baseball encounter that you think of when I say, give me a really special baseball encounter. I mean, we've all had so many that it's hard to even come up with one. But do you have a special baseball encounter that sticks out maybe above the rest?
Well, I was there for Derek Lowe against Terrence Long and that whole thing. I was there, and I was doing A's pre-games in those days, and Art Howe was a dear friend, and I really kind of pulled for him to do well. And he was gone, and now Maka is the manager, and I'm friendly with Maka. And it's the Red Sox and the the story, and the A's. It's Game 5. Zito gives up the home run to Manny Ramirez, I think, in that one. But he gets to Derek Lowe, and they pinch hit for Jermaine Dye with Melhouse or something
Adam
like
Melhouse, yeah.
Melhouse. And then Terrence Long, and they 2 ground balls, and they lose the game. I'll never forget it. I almost had to turn around. I almost couldn't watch. That's how nervous I got, because I really wanted Maka and these guys to win. And it's crazy, but for me, I remember that one personally being there. I do.
Glenn?
Well, I would say it wasn't necessarily a game, but it was, and I've told this story a couple of times, but I went in the Giants clubhouse. I was working for the A's, but the A's were playing the Giants at Oracle Park. This was probably maybe 15 years ago. And if you guys remember, you'd walk in the Giants clubhouse, and Mike Murphy's office was always on the right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go in and say hi to Murph. I've known Murph for many years. Murph used to send me Giants batting gloves when I was in college. I was the cool kid that had black batting gloves in college, right? with the Giants logo on them. So I went in and I walked around the corner, and I was going to say hi to Murph, and Willie Mays is sitting there. So I'm like, okay, I got to say hi to Murph, but Willie's right there. So I went and I shook Murph's hand, and I said, hi, Mr. Mays. My name's Glen Kuiper. And he said, I know who you are. Announcer. You're Kite's brother. You don't have to tell me who you are. I know exactly who you are. And I was like, Willie Mays actually knew who I was for, no reason, right? Maybe he knew the name. I don't know, but he knew exactly who I was. And I walked out of there feeling pretty good. I'll never forget that. It was probably 15 years ago, but
that is so cool.
He really knew who I was. What more could you ask for, right?
That really stands out. Eric, is there one that you've had through the years?
There is one I'll never forget. It was my senior year of high school. Me and a buddy of mine, he was a big Red Sox fan. So his father took us it was the night before Ricky Henderson broke the all-time stolen base record. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Roger Clemens was on the mound, and he dealt, and he got the win. And my buddy, he's like, man, I want to go get my Roger Clemens card signed. I was like, all right, cool. We hung out for like 2 hours after. Security guards like, oh, they all left. Don't worry about it. They left. So you ain't going to be able to get no autographs. So there's only like 5 of us just saunting, right? Just walking back. And then a couple of minutes later, the same security guard, hey, Roger's coming out right now. So everybody ran. It was like 5 of us running to him. And I didn't have a card. My buddy had his card though. And we met him. The guy was a dick. Seriously, he goes, if I see any more than one card, I'm done. And I mean, he just, and the guy freaking pitched a magical game. You'd think he'd be all happy and everything. And my buddy got his card signed, Roger Clemens. But yeah, that's an encounter I'll never forget.
Oh man, I have so many, but that I can think of. But the one that really stands out, Agnew, the old program director for KMBR, called me like on a Wednesday, and he's like, Krueger, I got an assignment for you. And I'm like, oh, okay. It should be good. Am I going to like this? He's like, well, you're going to have to do it no matter what. And I'm like, all right. So he goes, Tony La Russa is having an art foundation dinner at Silverado after tomorrow's day game. It was the Giants Cardinals on a Thursday. And he's like, and we're going to do a special remote from Silverado. And Lee J's going to be up there. And I just need you to host it and just come in, just get in and get out and stay out of the way. And I'm like, okay. And I go, who's going to be there? He's like, oh, there's going to be a bunch of people. It'd be great. I'll give you the list. So then he hands me a list. And I look at the piece of paper. It says Tony La Russa, Bill DeWitt, the owner of the Cardinals. This is in the 90s. So Jack Buck is on the list. Lon Simmons and some other executive for the Cardinals. I might have been Mr. Chockety, Walt Chockety. All right. So I'm like, wow, this is going to be something. So we get up to Silverado, and Lon's just the greatest storyteller of all time. I mean, think of The Rap, but just think of The Rap with 3 hours. Right. And then you got La Russa, and La Russa, I'm like, Tony, what do you need? He gave me like 3 or 4 reads. He's like, if you do 3 or 4 reads for ARF throughout this in between, that'd be great. So I just come out, hey, we're back on KMBR. We got Tony La Russa, Bill DeWitt. And I'm like, Tony, what story, what we wanted to go to, tell us about, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden you got Lon and Jack Buck and La Russa, and it was amazing. It was amazing. And Agnew calls Lee Jones, and Lee Jones, it's like 9:50. He's like, get over here, Krueger. And it's like, Agnew's like, Krueger, I don't care what you got to do. Go to midnight. I'll pay you whatever. I got you a room. You can have a room. You can stay over. No, you got to go to midnight. You got to. So I'd sit down, and I think like these guys maybe don't know about this. So I'm like, hey, Bob Agnew just called, and he said that he wants us to go till midnight. And these guys were so enthralled with what they were doing, and the wine was flowing and everything, and the people at the resort were incredible. But these guys didn't know that they were going to be asked to do 2 more hours of radio. And they looked around and said, we can do it. And then just laughed and then just told stories for 2 more hours. Yeah. And it was amazing. And I was a 26-year-old radio guy sitting there going, whoa. That was an amazing. I mean, I'll say this, just being a fly on the wall for The Rap, for Krug, Kuiper, Ted back in the day, John, Lon, I'm coming on, Glen and I were coming on together after a lot of those things in the late 90s at Candlestick. Those are some pretty special memories, really. I mean, really, if you think about it.
Hey, Larry, did you know that Lon Simmons introduced me to my wife?
No.
Yes, at a Giants game.
Wow. That's incredible.
I wasn't working that day. It was a day game, and Lon was entertaining some folks in one of the broadcast booths. Just, it was an empty booth, and I wanted to say hi to Lon. So I went in there, and I just, because Lon's great, right? Friend to everybody. And I said, hey, Lon, how are you? And he had a family in there, and one of the people in there was this pretty young lady who he introduced me to. And as the story goes, it ended up being my wife. So Lon, yeah. So
that's awesome.
That is incredible. Yeah, he's got to be very special.
Lon was special. He was. And I was always a little afraid, to ask him too many questions. It's Lon Simmons. You don't want to take up all his time. But he was very gracious and told me about being in Fresno and how he was a pitcher and all this kind of stuff. And then he said, you know what? My daughter listens to you more than she listens to me. I want you to know that. And she was sitting there, and a very nice lady says, when you're on the air, she only wants to hear you, and she won't listen to me. And the way he says it, the booming voice, it really made me feel good. Lon could do that.
He was special. He was. I
when
got
Lon
to
was with Bill King. Come on, when Lon was with Bill King.
Oh God.
I mean,
I think Marty, you might have introduced me to Bill King one day in Oakland before a game, and he's. I think you said to me, or it was you or Korak said, "You know Bill King?" And I'm like, I've never met Bill King. And Bill King sat down, and you guys said, "This is Larry Krueger," and I was doing the sports phone, and he goes, "Last night you had a caller from," and my mind was blown. Even Korak looks at me, and he's like, "Look at his mouth draped open." I'm like. The idea that Bill King was listening to me was like, what? I mean, it just blew my mind.
Yeah, when I did the A's pregame, I would come on an hour and a half before the first pitch, and Bill would have been the greatest trial lawyer in the history of California, how prepared he was. He would sit there before the game writing stuff down, all those little yellow sheets of paper he had and all that. And I'd be on the air. And then, they had my show being piped into the radio broadcast booth. And he listened to me. And if I said something that didn't sound right, all of a sudden he'd look at me. And I'd say, oh, man, what did I do? and I made a reference. I don't know. I'm not an art guy, believe me. But I made a reference to Monet. I said, oh, it's a cloudy day. It looks gray here. It looks like a Monet painting. Now, Bill was the greatest artist in the world. He loved art. And when I said that, he jumped from his seat and looked at me. And he glared at me. That's the last time I ever went out of my lane. But getting Bill to give me verification of what I was doing. And that was the biggest thing in my career.
Yeah.
When Bill couldn't wait to see who I had. I ran into Furman Bisher, a writer from the Atlanta Constitution in, 1955 to 70. And I interviewed him at an All-Star game. And Bill loves stuff like that. And Bill King, for me, I think had the biggest influence and made me feel good that I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm a lawyer. I just started this thing. I didn't know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. But Bill King made me feel like I was special.
I mean, to this day, he's the greatest basketball radio guy I've ever heard, and it's not even close. I mean, he was so great on basketball. And a great basketball announcer is worth his weight in gold. I mean, the Lakers discovered Chick Hearn in a playoff series. Mm-hmm. And then we're like, hey, this guy's so good. There was 3,000 extra seats sold. They're like, you know what? Let's have an announcer. Let's have Chick. And that's how the legend of Chick was born. Yeah. Guys, I got to jump, but it was because my wife's giving me that look. But man, I mean, I love talking ball with you guys, and it's been awesome. And we'll definitely do this again in a few weeks.
Awesome, Larry. Thanks, buddy.
Glenn, what do you this week? You have a show coming up?
Yeah, we got a show on Wednesday at 7:00 live stream, and Jeremy Affelt is going to be my guest, so that's kind of fun.
Good.
Nice. We'll talk about get ready for the second half, but he's a very entertaining guy, and we will talk about the core four and the World Series teams and what made them so special. So he's a good dude. So I'm looking forward to having Jeremy Affelt on. My show again, 7:00. The Glen Kuiper Show, All Giants on Wednesday. So
okay.
Also, sorry, Marty. There's a super chat from Dom Peralta.
Oh yeah, let's get that one. Yep.
It says, "Fantastic show, fellas. Rooting for the Giants to catch fire in the second half. That's baseball, baby. Go Giants." So Dom, we appreciate Dom.
Thanks, Dom.
As always. And guys, I'm going to head off to dinner. Eric, you're the best. Thanks for working on that stuff we've been working on. We'll get it done.
We'll get it done. We'll figure it out.
What can I say?
That's baseball.
I wouldn't be here without you, Marty. Thank you.
It's baseball. 5-2. The Giants lose it today in 11. Now we get 4 or 5 days off, and we can take a break and get ready for the Blue Jays on Friday. I'll probably do something, maybe a pregame Friday, or we'll do a postgame on Sunday. But Eric, great job. Thank you so much as we get them things straight.
All right.
Good job, Glenn. All right. See you guys.
See you guys.
All right. And here comes Ruby Barmay.
Thank you kindly. Enjoy the next week. We've got a whole bunch of baseball to speak on here at Marty and Friends.